Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into Neil Carey Arena, broadcasting live from the campus of Lewis University in Romeoville, Illinois. I am Cody Lindeman, joined alongside the team captain for the men's volleyball team here at Lewis University, Jason Gibbs. Jason, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing really good. Thank you for having me, Cody.
It's great to have you up here as we are getting set for the Lewis Flyers taking on the Maryville Saints. It is the first conference game of the season for the Flyers. The Flyers are ranked number 15 nationally, and when you look at some keys to the game for the Flyers, service errors is the number one thing that I found. They have 105 to 83 for their opponents, so you've lost almost an entire set alone in service errors so far in the season. The Flyers 8-4, the Saints are 9-2. Another thing that the Flyers are going to be looking for is to win first. In 9 of the 12 matches the Flyers have played, the direction that the first set has gone is how the match has gone. So if they win the first set, more than likely they're going to win this match. If they lose the first set, the trend has been that they would lose the match. And defense is going to be key for both teams tonight, as the Maryville Saints allows a hitting percentage of just 13%, the Flyers 16% for their opponents. Another key for the Maryville Saints is going to be momentum. They've played really well. They have a 9-2 record, as I've said, and they just want to play off of that early in the season and try to pick up some wins and keep that good momentum going. As the Maryville Saints lose the first point of the match. And another thing is going to be, this is a mental game for the Saints. They are yet to beat the Flyers in the 12 games that these two teams have played. Maryville Saints have never won a match, and they've never actually pushed it to 5 sets. Off to a good start here, each team getting a point early on. So Jason, if you're the Saints here, what are you doing to try you can't think about the fact that you've not won here. So how do you put that out of mind?
You know, I was looking at the stats for the Saints, and it looks like they have far fewer service errors than the Flyers. And I think that if they're able to lower the amount of errors they have and force the Flyers to play good, clean volleyball, then they can put pressure on them and stick with them throughout the rest of the match.
Yeah, as I've said, service errors can be an issue for the Flyers and has been so far this season, and it's something that hasn't cost them too much as they only have 4 losses on the season, but could, as you move forward in the season, become a real problem. So you want to fix that if you're the Flyers, but if you're the Saints, obviously you want to take advantage of the weakness of your opponent. The Flyers pick up another point there.
I think a key for the Flyers here today is to use their physicality, get into a good rhythm offensively. They've got a lot of height at the net compared to Maryville, and if they're able to slow them down at the net, they stand a good chance of winning this match.
And as we talked a lot about service errors at the start, we just saw one there from Allie Hickey. And we see some good defense, and talked about that early on too, that both teams are really, really strong defensively with their opponents having a low hitting percentage.
Yeah, I think the Flyers have worked really hard to replace Jamie Poppin with an entire team effort on defense. They look well connected out there.
Yeah, that's something that Lorelei Smith mentioned in our production meetings, is that Jamie Poppin was so good defensively that you can't just have a player replace her. It really has to be a team effort to play good defense to replace a defensive stud like that. A good block at the net by the Flyers, and more strong net play from the Flyers. Jason, that sequence right there really points to what you mentioned early on, that the Flyers have really good height at the net. compared to the Saints.
Fantastic kill there from Lauren. She's very unassuming, but very physical at the net. She gets up, she can block, she can attack as a setter, and she scores a lot of points for them.
Yeah, Lauren Stedman doing a great job there of picking her spot to do that. You can't just, as a setter, send it over every time. Otherwise, other teams will catch on. But that kind of sneak attack is all about picking your spots, and Lauren Stedman did it well there.
Another one. The Flyer block looks like they're causing a lot of problems on the side of Maryville, and they look out of sorts.
Yeah, good job by Stedman there. She's kind of lulling them to sleep there, just keep setting it for Bellaray, keep setting it for Bellaray, and then when Maryville sends all their defense there, she just pops it over for an easy point. Megan Schleckner gets in on the action. Yeah,
that was an amazing shot.
A great job there, glancing it off the net, so really trying to cut that angle really sharp, and worked out well in that circumstance. Maryville with a good response there.
Fantastic pass. They're passing two, puts a lot of pressure on those two to pass the entire court, but very well handled by the Saints.
I think it was a big point for the Saints. It felt like maybe it was going to start running away from them here as the Flyers really had their offense clicking, and the Saints with a big statement point, in my opinion. And that wasn't just tapped over, that was hit over with some authority. The Flyers are just relentless at the net right now as they have tacked up their 8th point early on. How hard is that for an undersized team when even your attack seems like every attack is getting sent back, and then offensively it seems like you can't really stop the other team?
Super tough. I guess the scouting report for the Flyers has been was pretty accurate. It looks like they've had a double up on almost every swing so far. A lot of pressure on Maryville to pass really well right now and run their team in systems that they don't have to deal with that big double block from Lewis.
Yeah, the Flyers have 4 block assists so far. Maryville has 0, but Maryville is staying around. And that one was tipped. The Flyers pick up another point. Now, this is a tendency I've noticed in volleyball of this level, is that the 4-point runs, those little runs of 4 points, can really be a killer because each team will trade points for 30 points in a row, and that 4-point run when it was 4-4 is now the difference maker.
Yeah, the out of service, the Flyers are in the middle a couple times now, and I think it's opening up someone like Megan, who can get into a good rhythm so far with a cut shot and a nice high hand swing to get into a nice rhythm throughout the match. And if they're able to keep doing this, then I expect Lewis to continue to run away with this match, or this set. I really like that swing for number 12, just finally taking a nice big swing, and in transition too off a really nice dig. If they can start putting pressure on the Flyers and just swinging away, and see if we can get the Flyers out of rhythm.
Yeah, that was Brinkman, number 12 for the Saints there, and you could hear that one come off her hand, and it was zooming over there. The Flyers with some good defense though. Flyers really just seem to be clicking on all cylinders, and that's a symptom, I think, of winning at the net, is when you win at the net, it's easy to win everywhere else, and it makes it really difficult for the Saints even to score points.
A few unforced errors here from the Saints. 2 net calls already, double. They're looking to get into a nice rhythm here, and the unforced errors are not helping.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for the Saints to really win this match if they fall susceptible to unforced errors, because the Flyers are ranked number 15 in the nation, and how you beat teams that are better than you talent-wise is you don't make errors and you capitalize on theirs, and it seems like the exact opposite is going on here. And that's why the Flyers are ranked so well. They take advantage of the other team's errors when they are there, and they don't make a lot of errors themselves, or they capitalize enough to make up for errors that they make.
Yeah, it looks like the Flyer physicality is a little bit too much for Maryville to handle right now. Let's see if they can keep it up. We've
talked about Maryville struggling to score points. Their hitting percentage is negative .04 right now. So that's a rough place to be, is when you can't score points. It's really hard to do anything else. You can play really good defense, but eventually you have to score. Otherwise, you don't win games 0-0. You got to score points.
I'd like to see if Maryville can get their middles going. They've had a few good passes where I feel like they could have run it, and they've gone away from it. I think it would open up the pins a little bit more for them. Some of their passes have been around the 10-foot line, so it's been a bit challenging for them to run it, and let's see if they can get it going here.
We talked about Ella Brinkman had a big swing, and it worked out fairly well for the Saints. Do you think that could be a tactic moving forward? If you can't get it past their blocks, maybe you just try to power it through?
I think that they may be able to find a way to challenge that block a little bit off the edges. Not necessarily be afraid of the block, but see if they can challenge high and hard, or maybe go off speed. But I think continuing to be aggressive and confident and letting the game come is going to be important for the Saints, not to just be deterred by the big physicality of Lewis.
And the Saints, a well-used timeout. They get the point there and the serve. The score is now 7-14, and if you're the Saints, this is really time to go on a run so you can keep it close and a manageable 3 or 4 point run at the end. It seems like you really need to score pretty soon, and they have 2 in a row here, so exactly what you want to do out of a timeout. Pick up a point, get the serve, and then pick up another point and just see how many you can string together.
Yeah, great timeout by the coach there. A side out and a reel right out of the timeout could be really big for them.
There you see some good defense by the Saints. Really good rally by both teams here.
Fantastic save there from Lauren. One-hand set to the middle for the kill.
Yeah, Lauren Stedman, the setter for the Flyers, she's so good. She's held that position for a while. And there you can see just a veteran move. You don't have to get too much on it. Just put it up and let your players go get it at the net, and that's exactly what she did.
Maryville is attacking the back pin quite a bit. You saw the middle there on the slide. They've set a couple back pin balls. I wonder if the coach has some information or something on the scouting report is telling them that they should be attacking the ball from the back pin.
There's Bella Ray again. Lauren Stedman and Bella Ray have teamed up in this set and have really become a dominant force as the set has progressed. The Flyers now lead 17-8.
fantastic spot there from Jules. She is quite crafty on the back pin. She doesn't make a lot of errors, has a lot of shots in her tool bag, and just finds a nice easy roll in the middle into the corner.
Yeah, the one thing I think is interesting about the defense and the Flyers winning at the net is with Maryville struggling to win at the net, their defense looks a lot more in disarray when they try to turn it around and go on offense, where the Flyers look like they have a lot more opportunity to be set and closer to the net with them getting a hand on so many balls.
Yeah, it looks like Lewis's physicality is not only causing problems for their flow, for Maryville's flow on offense, but their defense is also having to deal with a lot more attacks coming back at them because their offense hasn't gotten to a good rhythm. They were playing pretty scrappy, but there's only so much you can do when Lewis is, running middle in transition and, causing a lot of problems at the net.
Yeah, Maryville's done a good job, or out of the last time out, they did a really good job of getting their hands on a couple balls at the net. But then as the timeout moved further and further away, it looked like it was more and more of a problem that we saw in the early going. So I wonder if they'll be able to do that again and maybe keep that up throughout the rest of this set and the match.
Absolutely, they did a great job out of the last time out. Let's see if they can pick it up here.
Yeah, the hitting percentage for the Saints has increased to .031, but the Flyers' hitting percentage has increased as well to 40%. That is the second service error of the set for the Flyers, and we talked about it in the open. So maybe not doing too bad in that department. Both teams have 2 service errors after that play, and you want to stay even in that department, I think. Obviously, the Flyers want to improve, but if you can at least stay even in most matches, I think that'll give you an opportunity to stay in every set and every match throughout the year.
Actually, I think the Flyers just need to focus on continuing the pressure on Maryville right now. They're out of sorts, and making errors from the service line just doesn't seem like it's only going to work in Maryville's favor.
Bella Ray with a little touch play there, and that's just a symptom of the Flyers' height right there. The blockers just they can't defend both at the net, a big swing and that touch pass. So well done there by Bella Ray.
Yeah, a few big swings from Bella Ray really opens up that tip. Even though the set and the connection was a little bit off, Maryville's too worried about the hard-driven swing.
That was glass header there, number 10 for the Saints with a big swing. We saw one earlier from Brinkman, and we thought that looked really good. Another one there from the Saints. Could be a recipe for success as they move forward, but they're really going to have to turn things around in a big way if they want to win this first set.
Lewis's ability to run the slide moving forward off the net around the 10-foot line has been really impressive this match. They've got 2 kills off of it so far, one from Farah, one from Bella. It just looks like a little bit too much right now for the Saints.
Yeah, the block assist for the Flyers is now at 6, and the Saints have 0 so far. So if you're looking for a stat that really talks about the dominance of the Flyers at the net, I think that is the one you want to be looking at.
The Flyers in transition tonight have just been a little bit too good. The serve receive from the Saints has had their setter running all over the place, and looks like the Flyers have gotten into a good transition rhythm so far tonight.
Yeah, you see some really scrappy defense there by Maryville, but the attack of the Flyers is just absolutely relentless, and that's what's causing problems for the Saints. Even when they put together good defensive possessions, the next one they have to put together another one and another one and another one, and that's the Flyers' offense just coming at them over and over and over again.
Yeah, the setters had to bump set the last 2 or 3 balls, and it's kind of trapped the hitter into swinging deep into the angle, and Andrea's just read it all day, and they're able to run their offense out of it.
Maryville there picks up a point on a violation. Those are really where Maryville needs to capitalize moving forward. You know, the little mistakes, the mental errors is really where you need to make up space and points on this Flyers team, but it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be an easy road, but if there's a way, I think that's it. So it's set point for the Flyers as they lead 24-12 here in set number 1. And the Flyers' defense and physicality at the net has been the story of the day.
Another cut shot from Megan ends that set. Very well done from the Flyers there in transition, especially. Like to see if they can carry that over to the next set, especially with the physicality from the beginning on the blocking side. Let's see if Maryville can get into a little bit better offensive rhythm early with service eve.
All right, well, the Flyers take set 1, and we're going to take a break as the players do, and we will be back for more action and set number 2. And we are back for set number 2, broadcasting live from Carey Arena. It's Cody Lindemann, joined alongside the team captain for the men's Lewis Flyers volleyball team, Jason Gibbs. The Flyers won set number 1 handily, taking it 25-12 over the Maryville Saints. And as I said early in the open, if you missed it, For the Flyers, 9 out of their 12 matches they've played, if they win the first set, they end up winning the match. And if they lose the first set, they end up losing the match. So that is something to see if that trend holds up. The Flyers certainly hope it does, and the Saints are looking to change that trend and change what has been the history of this matchup, where the Saints have failed to win since this matchup started back in 2009.
Yeah, Lewis doing a really good job that last set in medium system plays on the 10-foot line, being able to run their middle on the slide. Put a lot of pressure on Maryville to serve a little bit tougher, and I don't think they were able to put that pressure on the Flyers.
Maryville there with a good play. A little touch play, just pop it over the people at the net and let it fall.
I like that shot. Even if it doesn't fall, it kind of shows Maryville where they may be able to attack in the future. But luckily for them, it does fall, and serve right away becomes an ace, and they're up 2-0.
Yeah, the Saints off to a good start here. They're obviously going to look to keep that going. Starts are pivotal, and making mistakes during starts are also pivotal. And you see a service error there to follow an ace. I think that just hurts the psyche of a team when you get an ace and then you give the point right back and you give the serve back to the other team. It's got to be tough to keep the spirits up.
Yeah,
right off the start.
I'm sure that's really frustrating for the coaching staff. I'm sure they talked about playing a little bit cleaner and finding that rhythm that they couldn't find in the first set. And starting off 2-0, looks like it was going to turn their way, but a poorly timed service error, and Flyers are right back to it.
Yeah, the Flyers have it tied up 2 apiece now.
Yeah, the serve down the line really effective right now for the Flyers. Even though they're not getting aces, it forces the setter to make a decision early, and Bella is able to read that going out to the pin, and well-formed double block caused a lot of problems there for the Saints.
A good swing early in this rally by the Saints. Got through the block of Bella Ray, but the all-around defense by the Flyers kept the point going.
Unfortunate error there from the setter, but again, the Flyer physicality at the net, blocking, or at least getting touches on most of Maryville's swings is again causing problems for their rhythm, and unfortunately a service error there from Andrea, but still up 4-3.
So a service error for each team early here in set number 2. I thought they did pretty well in set number 1. Each team had 2 apiece.
Another ace from Maryville. Looks like they're just serving nice slow floaters. Might be tough to track, might be moving a lot. Let's see if the Flyers can adjust.
Second service error here for Maryville in the early going of set number 2.
Fantastic shot there from Megan. Flyers off to a little bit of a slow start this set. They're still physical, but like we said in the first set, where Maryville can try to force them to play clean, and if they're not playing clean, they can still score points, and Maryville's still right with them in the beginning of the set.
Yeah, I think that's been the key early here in set number 2 is Maryville's been playing the tough brand of defense that they've been playing all game, and with a little bit of rest coming out of the set break, I think there's a little bit more pep in their step, and then the Flyers making a couple unforced errors here and there have really kept this set close in the early going.
Another fantastic kill from Bella in transition. She is dominating in transition right now, and it is causing so many problems right now for the Saints.
This is Allie Hickey now at the line for the Flyers.
Fantastic short float server. Mixing in short, going deep now.
early on in this match, we've seen a couple of touch plays that have worked out pretty well so far. How difficult is it as a player to kind of range in exactly how much power you need to put on that shot?
I think one really important thing is getting yourself into a rhythm early. If you're jump serving, let's say in the men's game, there's a lot more jump serves. Your first serve might be more of a 70 to 80% swing, but focusing on getting that nice good toss, putting it in a good spot, and then dialing it up from there. On the float serve, I think Allie comes in and gets a short float serve call, and then probably gets a deep float serve call just to change up the rhythm and the flow, not do the same thing twice. And I think it's just getting the ball in at that point with a nice hand contact, not worried about power. I really like that dump from Lauren. The play kind of seemed like it was going to go out or back, and she just kind of tossed it over the net. Very much against the flow of what the play was showing, and very hard to defend by the Saints.
Yeah, Lauren Stedman's so good at picking her spots. As I never see those things coming. I never see those dump plays coming, and I think neither does the other team. As it seems like we've talked about a lot, both teams just getting a rhythm, and the rhythm is going, and it's defense, and it's all three hits, and it's really good offense, and then all of a sudden Lauren Stedman just on the first hit or the second hit dumps it over and wins a point for the Flyers.
So another pass there on the 10-foot line there allows Bella to get out to the pin early, and Maryville really needs to pass a little bit cleaner if they're going to want to get past this block.
And through these long rallies, Lewis has kind of built up a little bit of a lead as they lead 9-5 now. And I think it's a good job of Maryville that nothing is easy for the Flyers. It seems like they're winning a lot of points relatively easy in set number one, but with really long rallies, it shows the defense of Maryville has been pretty good, but their offense still has struggled to score points, and that's why they find themselves down by a score of 10-5.
Yeah, that tip into the antenna there just kind of shows the confidence right now from Maryville on the offensive side is not very high. But they finally get their middle involved on the slide, and I think that's a good sign. And let's see if they can get that going a little bit more so that they can open things up on the pin and get into a good rhythm on that side of things. Fantastic block touch there. Really slows down the ball and allows them to get that single block on the pin, and Bella's been so good in transition that they have to honor it and put up the double, and Megan's able to just find the easy kill.
And there it is, you just see the Flyers just at the net, able to dump it right over and put it just a little touch play and pick up points easy that way. And I think it makes it really difficult for the Saints when you have to honor both of that. And you can't not attack the net when you see the Flyers, Bella Ray or Farataki there, ready to just send that one over with everything they have. And then they just dump it over, and there's really no defense for it.
Yeah, the block touches at the net right now are allowing the Flyers to be in perfect system in transition. And Maryville just has no answers on the defensive end for the Flyers.
Yeah, Maryville played on a Wednesday, and they played the number 4 ranked Missouri Baptist Spartans. And although they lost 3-1, there was no set in which they scored less than 19 points. So their offense seemed to be operating a little bit better on a Wednesday than it is here tonight. But you can see why, with such gritty defense, they can just outlast teams until they make a mistake and take advantage of that.
Yeah, it looks like even on that last play, that libero took that ball in serve receive that was going right in front of another player. Personally, I'm a libero, and I know the stress of when your team's not passing super well. It makes you want to take more, and I think Lewis is taking advantage of that pressure right now because they're trying to look for answers. And there you see an ace off of Bella's serve. Not a super tough serve, but just in a really good spot.
Yeah, the ball tipped off the top of the net there, and just an example of when things are going well, everything seems to fall your way, and when things aren't going well, it seems like nothing will fall your way.
An amazing set out of system there, and a really good swing off the hands. Let's see if Maryville can capitalize and gain some momentum from that. It's the first I've seen of them really be aggressive in transition and be able to put a good swing against the Flyers.
Flyers there with another shot, moving horizontally there across the playing field instead of stretching the depth, and it worked out pretty well for them there as they take the lead 14-7. Lawrence Stedman with the serve.
I think that was a really important side out for the Flyers. It kind of shut down a little bit of momentum from that last play that Maryville could have had. And it looks like the Flyers are right back to being big and physical at the net. And a bump kill over the net by Angela. That is a sneaky play.
And there you see the experience of the Flyers kind of kicking in, just knowing, it might not be the most conventional shot, but really reading the surface well and knowing that's a shot that will fall if I put it where I want to.
Really crafty shot there from Lauren. I don't think anybody saw that coming. And I think that opens up because she's running middle so often. And they're able to be in system perfectly almost every time in transition so far. It's been really impressive from the Flyers, and giving her that confidence just to continue to dump is just going to add another element to the offense for Lewis.
The Flyers are hitting at a clip of 450 for this second set. And when you look over at Maryville, 0% is their hitting percentage. So the struggle, the offensive differences and the success the Flyers have had on their attacks compared to Maryville is staggering. And you can see it in the scoreboard as the Flyers have a 10-point lead.
And not only are the Flyers so big at the net, they have made some extremely clutch digs, especially on the middle, and it's kind of deflating for Maryville to have to deal with that, because once they pass well and they finally get the chance to run their middle, it just has not been effective, and that's just the Flyers playing really good defense.
I think that's what makes it so difficult for teams to take on the Flyers, is they are very effective in both defense and offense. So you can't really outlast them because their offense is going to score, and you can't outscore them because their defense is so good. And it's really good complementary volleyball, in my opinion, that allows them to be good year after year, and it's why they're ranked so high this year.
Absolutely. I think the Flyers are just playing extremely composed and steady, and they have a level of confidence that's just really hard to break right now. And maybe it's the recent travel they've had. Maybe they're a little bit tired. I know they have to be a little more dialed in, but really impressive steadiness from the Flyers so far tonight.
That's a good point you make. The Flyers have made a couple errors, but they're very consistent at just limiting it to a couple errors each set, and consistently good at making contact with the ball, consistently good at making digs, consistently good at the net. And I think that's, as you said, has led to their success. And the Saints find themselves in a really deep hole here late in set number 2. And if you fall down 2-0 away here in Neil Carey Arena, it's going to be really hard against this Flyers team that, as I said, plays with consistency to really come back and win this match.
Yeah, absolutely. I can only imagine that student section over there is not really helping the Maryville Saints gain some confidence here. finally gets a block touch that helps him slow it down in transition and get a good swing. But again, the Flyers are just, I wonder if it's something on a scouting report, but they are just everywhere right now, and it's a little bit effortless for them.
Yeah, the Flyers just seem to have found their rhythm really early in this match and haven't lost it since then. Even with a set break, they just had a really good rhythm. And there it is, Farataki in the middle, and she had all day to set up shop, and she's not going to miss that shot.
I love how they're continuing to go after it. Lauren is running an extremely smooth offense, and they're just continuing to jump on the Saints. Also mixing up in serve receive, going to position 4 on the past one, position 3 on this one, both short serves.
There's a really good block by Maryville at the net there. Maybe that'll be a spark for them as they try to turn this set around as it gets really late, and they do need something soon. Maybe a big block will get their team going. This defense seems to be their strong suit here tonight.
Wow, a touch call. I'm not sure there was a touch on that. It looks like that might have been scratched out of bounds, but a lucky break here for the Flyers. See if they can capitalize on that, continue to jump on the Saints.
Yeah, that's a rough break for Maryville because that's really nothing you can do there. It's not a mental error. That's not anything that you could have capitalized on. It was just a call that maybe didn't go your way.
I like the idea there from the middle, finally getting the middle involved, putting an aggressive, slow shot on the Flyers. Just very unfortunate that it's a little bit long.
When you look at the stats for set number 2, we're going to go back to hitting percentage because I think it tells the story so well here of what's been going on tonight. It's negative .094 for Maryville and .444 for the Flyers. So it's going to be really hard to win games when your hitting percentage is almost 500 points below the hitting percentage of your opponent.
And I think that consistent pressure from the Flyers is causing a lot of problems on even a slightly easier shot like that, because they're trying to do so much and to keep the ball off the floor and get into a good rhythm. And maybe they're playing a little tense or tight, and that ball gets shanked. And the Flyers just having their way right now on offense.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard for the Saints when you have to defend seemingly everything. Even shots that you feel you should get to or maybe able to get to, you can't. And just like that, the Flyers, in stunning fashion and dominant fashion, take set number 2, 25-9. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back for set number 3. And we are back, broadcasting live from Neil Carey Arena. It's Cody Lindemann alongside a team captain for the men's volleyball team, Jason Gibbs. The Flyers lead 2-0 here in this match tonight and have been dominant, winning 25-12 in set number 1 and 25-9 in set number 2. See if their offense can keep it going, or if Maryville has come up with some answers in the break, as they have struggled tonight to score points, even though their gritty defense has kept a lot of plays alive.
I think Maryville actually kind of likes the ability to start off here serving. I think they want to try to put pressure on the Flyers here early on and maybe get into a rhythm and transition here. They're digging a lot of balls, and let's see if they can do a little bit better here on offense. But another good swing from Jules into that deep corner. She seems to really like that shot.
The Flyers off to a hot start in set number 3, winning point number 1, getting the serve back. Bella right in the middle with a big block there, sending that one right back where it came from. And the Flyers on the second point looked out of sorts there. A little bit of a mishit, and all of a sudden they were in a bit of scramble mode.
Another missed serve off of a good momentum play. Both teams have had a couple tonight where they're just poorly timed. Luckily, the Flyers haven't had to deal with too many repercussions from that, but I'd like to see them play a little bit cleaner at the start of the set.
The Flyers again, they just seem to win at the net no matter what Maryville does to defend. The Flyers just seem like they know what Maryville's going to do next. If they get the hands in the way, they use the touch pass. If they don't get there fast enough, then they just power it through, or they play it to an open space. And it just seems like no matter what Maryville does, they can't quite make the plays they're looking for.
Nice serve there from Allie. I'm interested to see if she decides to go short here, if the coach gives her a short call. Just to continue to change things up, keep them on their toes, and allow the Flyers to continue to focus on the execution that they'll need to run away with this set here. Great hustle play from Maryville, but that ball is just outside the antenna.
Yeah, we had a great look at it here. It was just outside the antenna, but again, you see the first hit from Maryville not exactly where they wanted, and it put them out of sorts again offensively. And those are the unforced errors that Maryville really can't afford to have when they're facing a Flyers team that has been playing really smooth offensively and getting hands in the way at the net defensively.
Maryville finally runs the ball in transition in the middle. I really like that decision from the setter. They finally got a nice clean dig, and let's see if they can capitalize on that.
Yeah, Maryville, they're using that touch play, and I think that might be a key moving forward when you just can't win at the net. What do? You use that touch play, and you see it work out really well for them there. I think that might be something they want to focus on moving forward.
I say that Bella is just so deflating for the other team. They score a point, get a nice touch, a good transition ball, finally feel like they might have something going, and then Bella just comes in and first ball sides out.
Yeah, Bella's been so good tonight. She leads all players with 9 kills so far, and the way she's been playing, I expect her to add on to that total before the evening is done.
A really nice close there from Maryville's middle. I mean, reading the play there, not getting stuck, remembering that Bella's getting all these kills. She reads the play, gets out to the pin, and it's a really nice block from Maryville.
Micah Freppen as the setter here for set number 3. And in our discussion with Lorley Smith, she said she likes to keep her setters in for the whole set while they are in this competition for the position. So we'll surprise see Micah Freppen running the offense for most of this set number 3.
Flyers off to another slightly slow start. Last set, I believe they started off around 5-4, 5-5, and now at 6-4. Let's see if Maryville can maintain this pressure.
The Flyers here with another point. I think for Maryville, it's really difficult to keep up their energy when they play such a defensive brand of volleyball that has them running around so much. It's hard to keep up that energy for an entire set, and it is important to keep in mind that they played Wednesday, so they may be a little bit tired from that hard-fought battle on Wednesday. They have to come back and play another really good volleyball team and play a really strong defensive game, and I think that could be wearing on them a little bit here.
And I think on the flip side, the Flyers getting to sleep in their own beds tonight finally for the first time. They've been on the road quite a bit. I think they're well rested and they're ready to play in front of their home crowd.
Yep, that's true. I think tomorrow maybe an issue for some teams playing less than 24 hours away. But as you've said, the Flyers have been in a lot of tournaments lately, and that might actually aid their ability to kind of outlast other teams when you're playing less than 24 hours apart. But the Flyers have a lot more experience than other teams, maybe know a little bit more about their bodies and how to recover and how to conserve energy and how to use it appropriately during those short spans of times where they have multiple games.
Again, the physicality at the net on the blocking side has allowed Lewis to run away at the start of the first set, or the first few points of each set, and I think it's just been extremely deflating for Maryville after hanging with them for the first 10 points of each set.
Yeah, that point there was a picture-perfect example of good defense leading to good offense, and the ball just kind of floated up there. Megan Schleckney knew exactly what to do with it, and then a service error from the Flyers. So we've seen a couple, and that is another untimely service error from the Flyers as they were really starting to gain some momentum here.
Flyers with a few cutouts tonight from a few different players. Their range has been pretty impressive. And I think even with the addition of a new setter who's trying to get into the match and find their flow, the flow in the first two sets was so clean that it makes it easier on the hitters. Even when the set may not be connecting as clean right now as it was in the first two sets, to continue to make good aggressive shots, whether they're off the net or not.
Yeah, the Flyers here lead 11-6 in set number 3. When you look at the scoreboard, it looks like Maryville may be having one of their best offensive sets, but to me it really looks like the errors by the Flyers have been a little bit more frequent in the early going here in set number 3, and they've been able to use their offense to cover up for those issues as they start to run away a little bit more as the set progresses here. But early on, when it was 6-9, it was really about Flyers errors, and Maryville still having the struggles that they've been having all night.
Yeah, 2 back-to-back jump servers here for the Flyers, I think, is causing a lot of problems here for Maryville. I would imagine that if Micah had made her second serve, that she may even still be serving right now. They just can't seem to handle the pace and the physicality the Flyers are bringing right now.
Yeah, another timeout here by Maryville, and I don't think the Flyers have used a timeout yet, and that just speaks to how smooth everything has been operating when you don't have to call a timeout to make any adjustments defensively, offensively, and you can just let your players go out there and run the brand of volleyball that you play. It's been really good for the Flyers so far, and they just seem to be operating on all cylinders.
Absolutely. One of the notes that Laura Lee, Coach Smith, has written down was that each player complements each other pretty well on this Flyers team, and I think that has been very apparent tonight. They are very connected as a team on defense and on offense. A lot for the Flyers clicking tonight.
Maryville out of the timeout, gets a big block and wins the point. So the timeouts have been really good for Maryville as they win the first couple of points out of the timeout usually, but it's been an issue of sustaining that success throughout the remainder of the set.
They have been really good out of a timeout, and I think that they've been unfortunate to make a few serving errors after scoring that point out of a timeout. And an amazing set there from Micah. No one up there from Maryville on the 2-ball from Jules. I'd like to see if Maryville can maybe diversify their offense a little bit. Maybe run something out of the middle from a pin on their side of things. Maybe trying to get some momentum going, and here it is. I think even though the pass was not quite there to be able to run that attack, the fact that they ran it maybe held Bella just a little bit and freed up that line swing on the front pin.
That was number 10, last setter. She's had a couple of really big swings tonight, and you notice when she connects with them because the Flyers have had trouble returning them because they come off her hand with such force and speed. Flyers pick up another point here in set number 3 as their lead grows and the deficit for the Saints grows larger and the challenge grows tougher.
Allie has a lot of range here with her foot serve. Let's see what kind of pressure she can put on the Saints. Late finish there on the front pin on the block. Kind of throwing her hands late at the ball. I'd like to see maybe a little bit more disciplined hands there at the net, and that's a block. Both Bella and Hannah very tall at the net, very physical. Sure, Coach Smith is a little frustrated with that not being a block kill.
That might be the only time I've seen the Flyers really struggle to block a Maryville attack, and that's not a knock on Maryville. That's just how good the Flyers have been at the net.
Fantastic rally going on right now. Let's see who can get the ball in transition at the net and run the middle. Good read.
And the Flyers come away with the point at the end of a really long rally. And that's one of those points that as Maryville, you really want to win. You've expended all that energy and all that time, and all you do is end up giving the other team more momentum to build off of.
Really nice against the flow set there from the setter to the back end. Really causing problems with holes in the block there for the Flyers. And Maryville already ahead of their point total from last set. Let's see if they can continue to build and get better and force the Flyers here toward the end of the set.
Yeah, in this third set, the Maryville Saints have definitely done a better job at putting points on the board as they are still kind of hanging around in this game. The Flyers do have a 7-point lead, but the difference between being down from 6 to 17 opposed to 10 to 17 is really big, and it does allow the Saints to be within striking distance. If they make a 1 4-point run, they're back within striking distance of the Flyers.
Yeah, and Bella there with another kill just to stop the run and the momentum from Maryville. Again, she's been dominant tonight. Farrah's been dominant tonight. The middle attack from the Flyers has just been unanswered.
So here's a timeout by the Saints. And I feel like that's a hard position for the Saints coach, because as your team starts to grow momentum, you maybe want to call a timeout and slow the game down so they don't lose all the ground that they've just made up. But you also don't want to stifle the momentum that your team has going. So you gotta really you can almost have to predict the future. Is my team going to lose the next couple points and this is a good time to call a timeout? Or did they just lose one and they're going to win another 2 points back? I feel like that's a hard position for a coach, and that's a symptom of playing catch-up in these games. When you're leading, I don't think that's really something a coach has to worry about.
Actually, on the Maryville side, I'd love to see what their coach comes out with in this next set, or in this out of this timeout. Like we said, Maryville has been good out of the timeout. But I'd like to see what kind of adjustments they make, just to see if they can put a little run here and put some pressure on the Flyers. And on the Flyer side of things, I think it's just continuing to work and not be complacent and put pressure on them and finish out this match strong.
Yeah, and I think if they do come out of this timeout well and win a couple points, another key is going to be not to hurt themselves, as they have done a couple times out of timeouts when they do win a couple points in a row.
I think this match has been a real good showing of how effective being good in middle of the court system or medium system balls is, because the Flyers have done a really good job of being on the 10-foot line, running their offense, creating separation on the pins with the slide. And Maryville just has looked out of sorts on balls that are on the 10-foot line and not exactly in system.
We focused a lot on hitting percentage. I really like the stat because I feel like it says a lot about the game. And the Flyers on the match are hitting at 40%, where the Saints are hitting at 0%. And that's just a rough stat to look at, I think, for the Saints, when you're doing everything you can offensively and you're still hitting at a 0% mark. It's hard to know what else to do and how to get that offense started.
I really like the diversity of kills from the Flyers tonight. I've seen a couple high hand swings. That said, a little bit off the net, but still finding a way to make an aggressive shot that's smart and low error has scored the Flyers a good many points this set and in this match. And I think it's helped them continue to keep leads and their momentum.
Yeah, I think that might be an underrated part of this Flyers defense. They're balanced not only in who can score, but in how each person individually can score.
Fantastic dig there from Hannah. I think she may have just gotten a little bit excited and came in, tried to hit a nice thumb to the floor cutty, and might have done better if she put that in a corner or, took the setter out. But fantastic dig again. I mean, even with the triple block on the Maryville side, Lewis is still able to score with a hard-driven swing.
Yeah, Van Loo got all of that one for the Flyers as they now lead 21-12. So Maryville tying their points for set number one, which was their best set so far. It'll be interesting to see if they are able to put any more points up and make this third set their best set. And I think with the mistakes we saw from the Flyers early, it probably should be their best scoring set so far in the match.
Yeah, and another medium system ball there on the 10-foot line that was just not, where the set goes tight and it's just not super clean. Luckily, Maryville comes out of it, but I think the Flyers are in a good spot here to finish out this set cleanly.
Yeah, I think those are some of the issues that have plagued the Saints all night long. It's not a drastically bad play, but it's just every so often on a fairly consistent basis not making exactly the touch or the play that you wanted, and it leads to disarray, which really hurts you against this Flyers team.
The Flyers block not as effective this set as it was in the first two. I'd like to see them continue to be a little bit more disciplined, just like they were in the first set. They're causing plenty of problems on Maryville's side. I think they could just be a little more simple, especially with how their hands are moving with the net.
Yeah, Maryville in this last little sequence of about 4 or 5 points has played a little bit better than the Flyers in my opinion, but it might be too little too late, and I don't think the Flyers ever spend too much time not competing at their highest level.
And there we go, another a good block, a tight set. Both blockers recognizing that the attacker has to tip and just get their hands over fast just to swallow that ball. I really like the attempt there from Maryville to run something different off of a good pass. It seems like a little bit too late in the match, and another error has the Flyers closer and closer to match point.
A really nice dump there by the Flyers, but the defense, or by the Saints rather, and the defense of the Flyers is just too quick to get there.
Fantastic defense from both sides of the court on these hard-driven swings. And Maryville coming away with that point off of a long rally. Really, really fun volleyball from both sides.
Yeah, really good job by Maryville just to tip it off the hands of Bella Ray and then have the court awareness to know that that ball is probably going to fall out of bounds.
Touch there from the Flyers sends them a match point. And Allie Hickey coming in to serve. She's put a lot of pressure on Maryville. Let's see if Lewis can close this out right here.
Yeah, it is ending up to be the best offensive set for Maryville as they've scored 15, but still not enough to be really even close to the Flyers as they come down to the end here. And that one goes into the net. The Flyers take their conference and home opener here at Carey Arena over the Maryville Saints with a 3-0 sweep. I will be interviewing Coach Laura Smith in just a couple minutes, but for all of us right now, Jason Gibbs, the captain of the men's volleyball team, alongside Cody Lindman, I want to say thank you for watching, and make sure you stay tuned for that interview coming at you in just a couple minutes. So we are back after the Flyers' victory here, a sweep 3-0 of the Maryville Saints. I am joined by the head coach of the women's team, Laura Lee Smith. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here with us. Just have a quick questions for you here after the game. In the first set, how did your height at the net lead to success?
I think our height at the net is a pretty big advantage that we have over maybe 60-70% of teams that we play, as long as we utilize it. Sometimes when you're high above the net, you like to swing down at the other team's level. And then today and yesterday, we talked a lot about using our height as an advantage, but also making sure we're putting our hands at where their height is.
Yeah, you could really notice it from up here that the height played a big factor in the game. And then Lauren Stedman, how did the dumps on her offensive play really affect the offense as a whole?
I thought it was huge because Maryville, just when we scouted them, they never give up. They dig everything. A ball that you're kind of used to having enough power that, somebody will shank it and it'll be a kill, somebody else for them will run it down, and then it wasn't even something in the game plan, and she used it, so it threw them off, and then it just gives your whole team a breather, because now you have a third offensive weapon in the front row when sometimes you don't.
Yeah, along with Lauren Stedman, what else on the offense allowed you to operate so smoothly?
Well, I actually thought our backcourt, our defense was really, really zoned in, and they were in the right spots, and then they cared about the quality instead of just getting the ball up. So then we're, not necessarily frantic, but we're just not in system. I thought the backcourt did their job to help our front court have vision, have multiple options of where to swing, and then that makes it tougher on the other team.
And then as such a good game that your team played, what, if anything, would you like to see improved?
I think specifically, Maryville, when they had a good up, they set a faster ball behind them, and our block lineup and defense around that probably was not the best. That would be I want to work on this.
And then you play again in just less than 24 hours. How important is recovery going to be tonight and tomorrow morning getting ready to play?
I think very. I think tonight we had extra adrenaline, the excitement of being at home, so that kept you pretty fired up for all three sets. I don't know how long that type of excitement is going to last. If it could carry us through tomorrow, that would be great. If not, then the extra stretching, ice, and modalities, all the stuff that we do tonight and tomorrow, hopefully will help us.
All right, thank you very much for your time, and congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much.